I never thought the most emotional NASCAR story would begin with Denny Hamlin talking about Kyle Busch. For years, fans watched them compete like rivals who barely tolerated each other. Every race carried tension, every battle felt personal. Kyle Busch was the driver crowds booed every weekend, while Denny Hamlin became one of the sport's most respected veterans. But suddenly, everything changed. Kyle Busch was gone at 41 years old, and the one man nobody expected to speak with that much emotion was Denny Hamlin. The tragedy reportedly happened on May 21st, 2026, while Kyle Busch was preparing for the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. He was using a racing simulator in Concord when he suddenly collapsed. Emergency responders rushed him to a hospital, but the situation quickly became critical. Doctors later confirmed severe pneumonia that had progressed into sepsis. The NASCAR world went silent after hearing the news. A driver with 234 career wins across NASCAR's 3 national series, more than anyone in history, was suddenly gone. Before we go deeper into this story, make sure you subscribe to NASCAR Racing Central, because we're getting close to subscribers. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll love what's coming next. Like, comment, and share this video because stories like this deserve to be remembered by every racing fan. What made this loss even more emotional was how much Kyle Busch had changed during the last several years. For most of his career, he carried the reputation of NASCAR's villain. Fans argued about him constantly. Crowds booed him during introductions. Social media exploded after nearly every race. But away from the track, Kyle Busch had become a completely different person. His relationship with Samantha Busch transformed his life. Then came their children, Braxton Busch and Lennox Busch, and suddenly fans started seeing another side of him. Kyle openly talked about fatherhood changing his priorities. Racing still mattered, but family became everything. Drivers inside the garage noticed that transformation long before many fans did. And one of those drivers was Denny Hamlin. For years, Denny and Kyle competed together at Joe Gibbs Racing, but NASCAR teammates are still rivals. They fight for championships, sponsors, and victories every single week. There were disagreements between them over the years, tense moments, aggressive racing incidents, public frustration. Their relationship was built through competition more than friendship. That's why what happened after Kyle's death shocked so many people across NASCAR. Just months before this tragedy, Denny Hamlin experienced devastating grief himself. In December 2025, Hamlin's father died in a house fire. The loss deeply affected his family. During that painful time, according to Hamlin, Samantha Busch became one of the first people to help his mother. She didn't just send condolences, she reached out personally and offered real support. That act of kindness stayed with Denny Hamlin. 3 days after Kyle's death, Denny appeared emotionally on his podcast, Actions Detrimental. There was no polished statement, no carefully planned response. Just genuine emotion from someone trying to process the loss of a rival who had become much more than that. At one point during the podcast, Denny paused while talking about Kyle as a father and said, "I realized he is one of the best dads. He is committed to his kids." That sentence alone hit NASCAR fans hard because it revealed the side of Kyle Busch many people never fully appreciated while he was alive. But then Denny said something that completely stunned the racing world. Obviously, Samantha, Braxton, anything that they need from us or me personally, we're going to go above and beyond. And then he explained exactly why he made that promise. Samantha was one of the first people that helped my mom after the fire. She was able to contribute and reached out and helped us. That family is very, very caring. Suddenly, this story stopped being about rivalries, championships, or controversy. It became about family, about grief, about showing things up for people when their world completely falls apart. And now NASCAR fans are left asking one painful question. Did people appreciate Kyle Busch enough while he was still alive? The emotional reaction across NASCAR after Denny Hamlin's promise was immediate. Fans who spent years booing Kyle Busch suddenly admitted they had completely misjudged him. Social media filled with messages from people saying they only saw Kyle as the aggressive competitor and never understood the man behind the helmet. One viral post said, "I spent years booing Kyle Busch every race weekend. Today I realize villains don't exist in sports like we think they do." Another fan wrote, "Kyle Busch was NASCAR. Chaos, talent, confidence, emotion. Nobody brought energy like him. That reaction spread throughout the entire garage. Drivers who battled Kyle Busch for years openly admitted how much respect they had for him. Brad Keselowski, one of Kyle's fiercest rivals for nearly 2 decades, publicly said the sport had lost one of its toughest competitors ever. Chase Elliott admitted Kyle pushed every driver to become better racers. Suddenly, NASCAR wasn't divided anymore. The rivalries disappeared and grief took over everything. Then came the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the atmosphere felt nothing like a normal race weekend. It felt like a funeral for one of the biggest names the sport had ever seen. Samantha Busch arrived at the track with Brexton Busch and Lennox Busch. Brexton wore a hat with Kyle's famous no. 8 on it, and that image instantly became one of the most emotional moments NASCAR fans had ever witnessed. Every driver on the grid carried a number 8 decal on their cars to honor Kyle Busch. Then during lap 8, the entire speedway went silent. Fans stood quietly while cameras showed Samantha holding her children. Brexton tried to stay strong, while Lennox was still too young to fully understand what had happened. Millions of viewers watched a family trying to survive the worst week of their lives. Denny Hamlin later admitted one particular moment emotionally broke him. He described seeing Owen Larson, Kyle Larson's son, walk over and hug Brexton Busch before the race. "It's just heart-wrenching for sure," Hamlin said afterward. That moment captured why Denny Hamlin's promise mattered so much to the NASCAR world. Suddenly, nothing was about racing anymore, not championships, not rivalries, not controversies. It became about family and showing up for people during unimaginable grief. At the same time, another conversation quietly started growing inside NASCAR. Questions began surfacing about Kyle Busch's health before his death. Reports claimed he had been visibly sick during races leading up to the tragedy. During a race at Watkins Glen, Kyle reportedly radioed his crew asking for medical help while struggling physically inside the car. Despite that, he continued racing the following week at Dover. That's where the controversy started. Fans and insiders began asking whether NASCAR's medical system should have recognized warning signs earlier. One social media post that spread quickly read, "NASCAR now faces serious questions about driver health monitoring. The warning signs around Kyle Busch's illness should not be ignored." The comparison that shook many longtime fans was hearing people compare this tragedy to Dale Earnhardt's death in 2001. That's how massive this loss felt to the sport. Kyle Busch wasn't just another driver. He was one of the most important personalities NASCAR had ever produced. Whether fans loved him or hated him, he made every race matter emotionally. Now another painful question hangs over the sport. Did NASCAR appreciate Kyle Busch enough while he was alive? Because the tributes pouring in now are overwhelming. The respect being shown to Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox is overwhelming. Drivers continue posting emotional messages. Fans continue sharing stories about Kyle Busch memories. The hashtag Rowdy Nation exploded across social media for hours. But Kyle Busch is not here to hear any of it. That's why Denny Hamlin's promise carried so much emotional weight. It represented more than helping Samantha Busch and her children. It represented NASCAR finally acknowledging the human side of Kyle Busch after spending years focusing only on the villain image. And honestly, that may become Denny Hamlin's defining moment. Championships matter in racing, but moments like this define character forever. Kyle Busch's legacy will always include the wins, the championships, and the rivalries. But now it also includes something bigger. The realization that behind all the controversy was a father, a husband, and someone who deeply impacted the people around him. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next. Subscribe to NASCAR Racing Central, like this video, and share it with other NASCAR fans. And comment below, do you think NASCAR appreciated Kyle Busch enough while he was still alive, or did the sport only fully understand his impact after he was gone?